For the last 30 years, German companies have been investing in Bulgaria to make it a better place to live, work, and conduct business. In this exclusive podcast series, the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce tells the story of how two cultures meet and work together to create better prospects for Bulgarian society. Let's talk business with the leaders of the most prominent German companies in Bulgaria.
It is my pleasure to welcome you back to our special podcast series celebrating 30 years of German economy in Bulgaria, hosted by the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce. My name is Irina Obushtarova, and today I'm meeting the business leader responsible for the development of one of the biggest R&D centers established in Bulgaria, SAP Labs. Radoslav Nikolov is the managing director of SAP Labs, and he is an industry veteran with an impressive career spanning over 2 decades, most of which he spent at SAP. Under his leadership, SAP Labs has grown to become a significant player in the Bulgarian IT sector, making substantial contributions to the local economy and shaping the country's tech landscape. His managerial style and strategic vision have been instrumental in guiding the economy through numerous milestones and achievements, and we will talk about them today. Mr. Nikolov graduated in mathematics at the Sofia University, Kliment Ohridski, and specialized in geometry and information and communication technologies. He has also completed the leadership program at the leading global business school, INSEAD. Recently, SAP Labs announced the formation of its Southeast Europe Hub, a new regional organization of SAP units in Bulgaria and Romania with the aim to promote collaboration, exchange of ideas, and growth. Rado, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm very happy that you're here. With more than 1,400 employees at SAP Labs Bulgaria, you're a significant player in the Bulgarian IT industry. How do you see SAP Labs' role in shaping the local economy?
If we go back like 23 years ago when SAP acquired a small company of 60 people in Bulgaria and this way founded the SAP Labs Bulgaria, with 60, yes. And since then, we've grown about 23 times. You see the coincidence for 23 years ago with 23 times growth till now about 1,400 plus people so far. And I believe back then there were not so many, if we were not the first company or one of the very few global companies that open up doors here and not coming really through a partnership, like contracting another company or through the outsourcing or going to support. Rather, we started directly with the product development. And this is also the philosophy of SAP, where you will see these 21 labs worldwide, or 150 different development locations with smaller teams here and there. You will see everywhere the same approach. So SAP really goes, opens up subsidiaries, and these people there and companies, they feel as part of the big SAP families. And then next to each other, across locations, they work sometimes on the very same product offering, a service and the like. So I believe we've given up an example back then to Bulgaria that this could be happening much, much faster than slower. And I believe many companies followed. Nowadays, you will see quite some big international companies with offices about the same size, if not bigger than ours. This is one of the influences SAP has done towards Bulgarian economy, especially in the IT sector. So we see new companies kind of researching the Eastern cluster where they want to place probably their next engineering center, and they usually talk to us. They talk to multiple companies, but we are part of their list, and we tell them our experience so far, what they will be able to, will be seeing in the ecosystem in terms of partners, in terms of university, in terms of talents, and so on. And we're happy that some of them, or majority of them, has already opened offices here as well.
I definitely believe that SAP has shaped the brand of the Bulgarian IT sector so far. And I'm actually curious, when you talk to potential investors who would like to expand their operations in Bulgaria, which are the winning arguments?
First and foremost is really the vibrant talent pool that they will find here. You know, our mathematicians and our computer scientists from the high school levels, they're really world-class and recognized across multiple international contests. Mm-hmm. What they see is also people which are eager to learn, they're result-oriented, they're eager to develop themselves and also work in teams. This is very, very important. And another aspect of it would be that we are part of European Union. That's very important. Also, again, for trust, as you will kind of find similarities in terms of regulation, legislation. This is true for Europe as a whole, like European countries looking to invest in Bulgaria, but also true for outside of Europe when they hear that we are part of European Union. Another aspect would be that we have a vibrant already startup ecosystem. So innovation is here, quite some, and I believe since I haven't checked recent kind of reviews in this space, but some years back we were probably the second country in Europe after Germany in terms of number of startups per capita. Mm-hmm. And still, I believe in the cluster here in the region, we're one of the first in this aspect. Another thing is, of course, the optimized cost, or if we looked at it from the other perspective, I would say we are much more adding value. Our added value is much bigger in terms of anything we do, especially in the IT sector. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, they will find a vibrant ecosystem of software companies already. So they are able to grasp in the potential and the growth and the expertise which is already available and built on top of it by collaborating and so on with them.
And I'm also very happy that the growth of the IT sector in Bulgaria is also one of the factors that we're actually having a brain gain in the past couple of years. Many people are deciding to return because they see that they can have a nice lifestyle also in a place exotic as Bulgaria.
Absolutely. We see lots of Bulgarians coming back. This is one aspect. On the other hand side, I see lots of foreigners relocating to Bulgaria. I don't know for how long that will be, but definitely we see also the interest on our side. And if for many years we were just pure Bulgarian location, for the last 2-3 years, we already have about 20 foreigners that work from our office, which we are happy about and looking forward what this will develop in terms of diversity of knowledge, of expertise, of cultures even. That's important. So we're becoming more or less like many of our big locations where they will have up to 30 different nationalities. So imagine what kind of vibrant diversity and ecosystem we create within the company, within one office.
Yeah. Now, looking at the bigger picture and the global SAP organization, where is the Bulgarian hub, or now actually the Southeast European hub, in terms of contribution?
So we are in Bulgaria, we are majorly contributing to the technology portfolio of SAP. So SAP is known with our business processes and business applications for 26 industries worldwide. However, it wasn't until recently so much famous that we actually have a technology platform, so-called business technology platform, which has been developed for the last 12 years now that we started it. And we started it from Bulgaria, more or less. Wow. So we laid down that foundation and grew, of course, through many labs nowadays. And the platform plays very central strategical role at SAP as a whole, because on that platform, we put a few aspects of it in terms of the strategic priorities and directions. One of them is to integrate all the various acquisitions that we've gathered across the years, but also integrate our homegrown applications, because some of them, they are very vertical applications and solutions which they need integration across. So you will see it also from a user perspective as a seamless user experience. You wouldn't notice that you go from a ERP to the SRM and CRM and so on. So these processes will look very natural as one offering. So the integration is one aspect. The other aspect is extension. So whenever you have a full solution, let's say again an ERP solution, and you want to add an additional extension of a functionality, you don't need to go into the ERP solution and do it there. Of course, for many years that was the case. But now you can do it on the platform very nicely, integrate through the APIs available and so on, and you can create a small application which is naturally hooked within the very same ERP application or solution, so to say. And the last aspect of course, is to build full-fledged applications, business applications on top of it, of course, leveraging all the available business services which are out there. And all of that, of course, is within our context of SAP customers and partners. And you can think of the platform as reusable building blocks that an application developer can easily pick and choose and very quickly develop their application without the need to do everything from scratch. For example, you need a security module, you simply use it. You need a lifecycle management module, you can use it. You need an integration module for particular systems, like connectivity between cloud and on-premise or between different systems, you have it for granted. It's already there. In that sense, the platform really boosts the productivity of any developer in our ecosystem. So our lab is like 80-90% focused in this technology platform since this inception. So actually SAP came 23 years ago to fill a concrete platform gap that it had in its strategy. Back then we just had the ABAP development stack, which still is a vibrant but proprietary language. And SAP came for the Java world. At that time, the Java was getting much more traction and popularity across universities and companies and worldwide as a whole. And looking at a small company of 60 people called InQMI that was developing small Java server. And SAP said, okay, if we go there and buy that company, maybe we lay down the foundation of a second stack based on Java that we can then touch and pinpoint to this very growing ecosystem of Java developers worldwide. And this is how it started. And first of all, we were one of the big milestones of ours for the first 10 years of existence. We were really to lay down the strong foundation and build such an on-premise platform based on Java called NetWeaver. Still there, has probably about 40 to 50,000 customers still using it. Of course, we have a strategy of moving them to the cloud. And back in 2011, here in Bulgaria, based on that platform knowledge, on the Java expertise we had, we wanted to capitalize and catch the trendy directions of the cloud. And we started the so-called Java Platform as a Service, nowadays called Business Technology Platform. But the foundations of it are, and still huge contributions towards it, is coming exactly from Bulgaria.
Wow.
So this is one big thing. And then the last years, we've started as well adding business application contributions from Bulgaria in terms of sustainability, circular economy, exactly very important trends worldwide. And another one is the globalization services. They're about 1.5 years already. And these services are trying to localize and globalize our solutions simultaneously. Means you take any solution, business solution we have, and you want to run it in particular country, it will be translated in the corresponding language, and it will also implement in itself all the regulations that are coming from the legislation point of view. In that sense, we provide the companies to go global. Like if we have a global customer and they need to be in 5 countries, they can use the very same software.
This is what an ecosystem looks like when you have this exact collaborations between the different stakeholders in an innovation ecosystem. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I would like also to see the development of SAP Labs through your eyes. You have been with SAP for 20 years now?
Almost 21.
21. Which are the milestones that you have seen in the development of the R&D center here, and what keeps you also yourself at SAP?
Okay. I would say probably 3 or 4 milestones. The very first one was gaining the trust, because starting with a 60 people acquired company, we needed to integrate into the big SAP.
Yeah.
And SAP is not the same today as it was like 23 years ago.
You were like a mini startup in the SAP organization.
Very many, and we needed to integrate properly, so we have also the future of successful collaboration and cooperation with a big company and across the various engineering centers we have worldwide. So the first probably 7+ years, these were really building the trust and expanding our contribution into this on-premise platform. And if I looked at the first 7 years, we grow up to 250 people. Just for example, last year we have grown with 250 people alone. Back then we needed to build the trust, build the connections, change our culture and really fit into the big company's culture. And I'm really happy that we achieved that. So for the first 7-10 years, we really become a major factor at SAP, especially with regards to technology and this kind of on-premise platform that we still have around. Later, as I mentioned, we started the direction of the business technology platform, which is based from the very first day in the cloud, with the idea that first of all, we bring cloud to our customers, but also first to SAP and then to the customers and partners. And at some point, we will create migration paths, easy ways, as easy as possible, of course, for customers, even from the on-premise world, from their data centers to come to the cloud, because that's quite of a benefit list out there to leverage the cloud delivery options. Probably around 2014, we started then adding teams which we were not having back then, because we were from the very first day only technology focused, but we were more on the back-end side of technology. So we didn't have almost anybody with UI experience, for example. And I used to joke that with the opening of our UI and UX organization, we added kind of the face of our technology, with the user interfaces and so on.
Yeah.
So, and then in addition, in the next years, we've added security functionality, we've added integration functionality like bigger modules as part of the platform as services. And then we added also operations and DevOps. Nowadays, majority of the services which are part of the business technology platform, the operations DevOps perspective comes from Bulgaria. And therefore, those are people, but also services and automation procedures that are making sure that the platform and its services across all the different data centers are up and running. They are available, they are consumable, they are scaling, and so on. And whenever we have a challenge, including outages and the like, we have, first of all, software automated procedures that can eventually get the situation fixed. If not, of course, we have people, experts that can go in and quickly try to fix it. And along the way, make sure that next time it doesn't happen again. So all that really formed a full-fledged, more or less end-to-end contribution to the business technology platform from Bulgaria. In some areas, we have like full ownership of a service line or mini product. In some areas we have a little bit less contribution, but generally we're contributing in the major services of the platform itself. And then the last years, as I mentioned, we started growing the business applications and processes from Bulgaria, especially in the area of sustainability and circular economy as a whole. And lately with the globalization services, making sure that some of the products we can really cover few regions, few countries in the region in terms of adhering to the regulation and local legislation, so customers can really go global with our products. So these were the major milestones, and the one that we just announced is the formation of the Southeast Europe Hub, where Bulgaria will be the leading role in the hub. So we're combining the engineering center of the labs in Bulgaria and the engineering center in Bucharest in Romania. And these together are forming the hub as an initial setup. And we have there plenty of opportunities for synergies, but also complementary. If we looked at it from outside, the technology kind of expertise we have in Bulgaria and some product expertise already, plus the product expertise and the services organization which we have in Romania. And these services means these are people that are implementing at customer side our products. So these naturally kind of fit and complement to each other. So nowadays we are able to kind of support, welcome, start any engineering topic of SAP in our hub, in our region, which was never before. This opportunity was never standing in front of us. But now we are very confident that we can stay next to US as a hub, Canada, India, China, in terms of knowledge, of course, and expertise, right? We are not yet there in terms of number of people and scale, but in terms of knowledge, in terms of expertise, in terms of talent, we are pretty much on par with them.
How many team members are joining you now in the hub from Bucharest?
Almost 800.
800, wow, okay. But also tell me, how did you join SAP? Did you join the Bulgarian unit, or what is the story behind that? And how did you experience your career so far?
So I joined it back in 2002, and I started immediately as a team lead. So before I was just a developer in another company, and all of a sudden I needed to start managing people pretty much from scratch, pretty much without any training. So first months were challenging of learning
it is
how
quite
to
a
do
transition
things.
From what I know from people who have been through that.
Yes, exactly. And learn how to deal with them, looked at their differences and looked at their points of strength and leverage those. And I started with a small team, about 5-6 people, but then in a year or so, there was a management opportunity to grow up to 25-6 people. And then a few years back after, then I had the opportunity to become a vice president and then care for an organization, so much bigger, again, in the areas that we were developing in Bulgaria, so the core parts of this platform, mostly. Some years later, it turned out to have a good opportunity to have some global exposure, so keep our teams here, but also have teams in Israel, in US, in Germany. So I had a pleasure and the challenge to kind of learn the differences across cultural aspects in many countries. And not only that, built on top of these differences, on the diversity plus the expertise which is there, and successfully deliver few product lines on our side. And then some years later, opportunity came that I combined this line of business role, we call them line of business, as a responsibility towards different services and products, with also another role as a managing director of the SAP Labs Bulgaria. And the last almost 10 years, I was in this dual role. This year, with the expansion of the hub, I will be focusing much more on the general management, so being the managing director of the Labs Bulgaria and the head for the Southeast European hub, with the idea to make it the probably very important engineering factor at SAP coming from Eastern Europe.
Interesting. Now, because this is also a podcast that has been initiated and also hosted by the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce, I would like to ask you a bit more about your collaboration with the Chamber and being a factor in the Bulgarian economy. How do you believe SAP Labs has benefited also from this collaboration? How is the Chamber supporting you in matters of doing business and, I don't know, sometimes even maybe struggling with regulations, with...
As being a German-founded company, for us it's a prestige to be part of the Chamber, on hand side. On the other hand side, in Bulgaria, we do have, from SAP perspective, we have two entities. One is the engineering center, SAP Labs Bulgaria, and the other is the sales entity, which is SAP Bulgaria. And through them, the whole business of SAP locally goes, like they have all the engagements with partners, with customers, all the sales goes through them and so on. And we definitely have quite some customers in the Chamber. So this proximity is very important. And we, from the engineering center, we often join forces with the field, so to say, with SAP Bulgaria, and help them out in some of the more technical cases when they have with customers or with partners. So this is very important that we have this sort of a community around the Chamber that we can leverage, but also we can be helping, right, our partners, customers, and future such customers. What we are looking towards the Chamber is to join forces in the various groups and initiatives they have around acquiring talent, developing talent in the market, in the various industries, by the way. Also collaborating with them towards the educational system in Bulgaria.
Oh, yes.
Another aspect would be take part in various technical discussions and initiatives, because technology is what really kind of makes us move, so to say. And last but not least, we're also very interested into these blue cards, which apparently got very popular, especially in IT for the last years. The regulation there, or the legislation, became much quicker, which is really, really helpful, I believe, for the shortages we have in the ecosystem.
And looking at the advancement of the AI technologies, what are SAP Labs Bulgaria main priorities when it comes to AI?
Generative AI is a big topic across the company, I believe across many companies, but at SAP is definitely one of the very first topics.
It's very interesting that it was a topic for years, but only now with ChatGPT, it has become like a topic for the mainstream.
Yes, and it's much easier now, much more accessible, much easier to integrate, and we see more and more companies leveraging it. We will do the same, so we will kind of integrate and leverage generative AI wherever it makes sense in our products, starting from the very bottom layer levels, like when you use the technology, like a software engineer, and you would like to develop your module much faster than you used to. So you will simply use the AI assistant, typing free text saying, hey, I would like to have such a module integrated with this and that and that. And knowing all the APIs and our content, it will be giving you already probably 60-80% of the code. We're already there. We're not yet announcing it and not yet bringing it to public, but we are working quite intensively on this.
So you're saying that I could actually become an SAP developer myself?
80% of the needs would be fulfilled, but then the last mile, the 20%, you need to have expertise. So you need to depend on somebody else. But yes, in terms of if you come to a demander, or what's the right wording, if you come in the sense of requester, or the service owner or the business owner saying, hey, I imagine such a capability, and you write it down. Before, we needed people to translate that in technicality, what it means in terms of architecture, in terms of modules, and so on. Nowadays, this will be the AI assistant that we will take the business need. So you can type it, describe it as much and as described fully as possible. then the AI assistant will simply probably ask you more questions, and you will have 80% of a service or an application. And then the rest you will still need to see if it's hooked correctly. You need to test it, validate it, make sure that it can be deployed correctly, and so on. So for this 20%, you will need a bit more experienced person. But imagine what happens. Junior developers could act already on the senior level by such assistance. Senior developers would not waste, in columns, of course, so much of their time, but rather jump on top of what the AI assistant will bring, and they will focus only on the last mile. And they will have the time to work on themselves to be expert developers, and so on and so forth. I believe everybody in the industry will simply be elevated to another level. So coming back, we will definitely integrate it everywhere that it makes sense. Being a product developer in terms of in-house or provided to customers, so they can do the job much easier and much faster. Be it the whole documentation, the whole support service, and all the process around will be also kind of leveraged through AI to reach very quickly to what a solution would be to a problem or to a question. And in terms of our applications, on the other side as well for customers, if they need to do some job with our product portfolio, they wouldn't need anymore to go in weeks and months of trainings. Probably with AI, they will be much faster in terms of learning the basis and then doing the job on the particular day. If a business analyst or in a company would like to know something about some insights and some analytical representation of the corresponding business from data, of course, they, instead of going through various kind of tools and do all the graphics and so on, again, software that we have, you can simply type it what you need, and all of a sudden that will be provided to you at no time.
But also speaking of talent, earlier this year, SAP Labs Bulgaria received for the ninth time the prestigious award from IRS as one of the best employers in the country. Can you share maybe a bit more what makes the company so attractive to professionals, and how do you keep up to receive that for the ninth time in a row?
We're really, really happy, extremely happy with the ninth time being among the best employers in Bulgaria. And this award is one of, if not the only, kind of the best for us. This award is the dearest to our hearts at SAP Labs Bulgaria, because it's not something that, in central HR or operations roles, we provided some list of processes and values and so on, and somebody looked at those and said, hey, you're among the best employers in Bulgaria. But these were our people. Our colleagues were filling out a survey, really granting their trust and really saying, hey, this is really the best employer that we're happy working with for that many years.
What kind of talent are you currently looking for? Those who want to grow faster, those who want to be more steady and become like really experts in their field, and also which are the values or which are the values that you would be looking at in a person when hiring for SAP?
In terms of who are we hiring, with the years we've been hiring basically everybody from the very junior people to the very senior people, managers, architects, and so on. Of course, we were always looking for a better mix, a best mix. So in every team, we're looking for to have such a mix between seniority, between diversity in sense of talent and other talents that they have, in terms of more kind of competitive people versus more people that are to the detail and so on. So we are looking for this healthy mix that will make the team. If you have 80% of them just pacemakers, we wouldn't have a good team environment in that sense. So it really depends on the team, on every team itself. With the manager there, they're looking at what they exactly need, and they're making sure every candidate is in the right place. And if one candidate has been applying to one team but is rather fitting to another team, we try with management or managers between themselves try to make sure that this candidate is routed to the right place for him or for her to grow best and to fit best. On the other sense. In terms of if we looked at what we usually kind of grow with, the majority we grow like 40 to 50%, we grow with early talents. This is where our focus is, which means students or professionals up to 2 years of experience after school, after university. So this is the early talent pipeline that we have from our student internship program. We hire usually between 60 to 70 students annually we have with the company. And 60 to 80% of them become then permanent colleagues on permanent contracts after a while. We work with universities, yes. We are conducting few courses in the area of kind of core development knowledge. In Java, for example, we have project management, we have UI, UX course, so Internet of Things. So we have some diversity of courses that we try together with the corresponding university to deliver it in their premise. So the students do not need to change the environment, but we companies try to be closer to them. And through that aspect, we also give back to the ecosystem in the educational aspects, so be more closer to what the business needs at the moment. So try to modernize as much as possible together with the universities. And through that pipeline with students, majority of these early talents are coming from there. So being a student first, an intern with us, and then becoming an early talent in the next career step.
You being part of the leadership team that has been behind the development of SAP Labs here in Bulgaria, I want to ask you maybe also a bit about your growth in the company and transitioning from someone who is with a more technical background to actually managing people. I'm sure that you've learned a lot about leadership. In this sense, which are the principles that guided you as a leader when it comes to approaching other people and steering them into the right direction, giving them the vision of how you're going to grow in the future? Maybe also helpful for those who are going to be the next generation of leaders in SAP. What are you going to share with them as wisdom that you have gained over the years?
I don't know if we can combine and condense such a wisdom very thoroughly in a few sentences only. And you asked me about what we're looking at the people. Probably we looked at the first place for integrity. So people need to have this sort of trustworthy, and they have to have a high level of morale and be a team player. So those topics are very important because the rest you can learn. If you are willing to develop with the ambition to kind of learn new things and grow and contribute then to the team itself, to the organization and so on, to the company, towards our customers, then the others come more easily, more naturally. But if we need to fight with integrity, it's a problem. It's a kind of probably a recipe for disaster. So this is very important that we are sincere and we're very trustworthy persons as leaders towards everything that we touch and everybody that we talk to. Because, the first things that somebody is already putting some doubts in the leader's integrity, again, this is the first steps of the team. Instead of going upwards, that they start going spirally downwards. So this is very important from my perspective. And the other thing probably in terms of leadership, I would say, go and volunteer and take the lead whenever you have that chance. There's some sayings that the heroes are born in battles. You don't need to wait for 20 years or 10 years and become on every single point excellent. Say, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can work with people, I can do good communication before you actually are ready, because might be already all the trains has left the station. Rather, look for those kind of, let's say, battles that are out there, challenges that you can already step in and do some leadership activities. Might not be full-fledged, but sometimes in order just to say, hey, let's fix that problem in quicker way than usual, or you provide a better idea, or you gather people around that challenge and you try solving it. All these are leadership qualities and activities that one will do. And every time in such a bigger challenge or battle, somebody steps in, though it might be throwing in how we say this in Bulgarian, into the deep water directly, people don't drown. So if they are thrown, because, you have a team, you have a company that they can help them out. Of course, you need to be in a good collaboration with your manager. That's important, because if you start doing things on your own without have a good communication and acceptance and agreement with your manager and the team, then probably this is also not going to work that well. But if you have that collaboration and they're okay with that, and usually we are empowering and engaging them and encouraging them. That was the right word I was missing. Encouraging people really to step in out of their comfort zone, because anything that you can learn and it's out of your comfort zone. And if it's in the comfort zone, you already know it, right? And you experienced everything you could. Therefore, those are the aspects I would say. So they should be looking for opportunities in sync with their managers. Do not afraid to try them out. The environment is still safe when the manager is there, the team is there, and they can grow much faster. And everything they do, they need to have some good values which are part of the company, right? And sometimes even the the cultural aspects could be trained. Somebody comes from outside and doesn't live up to the culture, but you have to carefully assess it as a manager, because if you create this funnel and the culture is like a funnel, and the team that created that culture lives up to that culture, and then the person that comes from outside, you have no choice but go through that funnel if you want to be part of the team and company. Yes. And then adapt also culturally if needed, step by step.
Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure for me. And yes, I'm also excited about the region in Bulgaria, what we could further do in the IT industry, and looking forward what the next 10, 20 years will bring.